All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ryan here at the Weather Service office in Peachtree City. As you've noticed, we've had some pretty significant changes over the past couple of days with the weather as compared to the hot and dry that we had been experiencing. Well, that is over now. The drought that we had seen expanding over the last few weeks will get a dent this week with our rainfall. We're heading into a very wet weather pattern that will persist into next week. And by the time all is said and done, rainfall totals pretty widespread from 3 to 6 inches are expected. Obviously, some locally higher amounts are possible as well, and we'll get into that in just a second. One thing that is a little bit of good news is that the previous dry weather that we've had settle in for several weeks will help limit widespread flooding issues. However, some localized issues will be possible. The severe thunderstorm risk at this point does appear low, but can't rule out a strong thunderstorm or two each day. That's something that will remain possible. All right, so taking a look at our current radar across the southeast, you do see a pretty good area of light showers and some embedded heavier rainfall and thunderstorms that will continue to spread across portions of the area through this afternoon. Additional development can also be expected as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. That's kind of when our coverage will be maximized each day. Before we get into all the heavier rainfall totals and everything, I did just want to touch on the drought because we did get our update this morning. It did expand pretty significantly over the past week since we had another week of dry weather that made about 3 weeks or more for many of us without seeing any rainfall. So we do have some widespread moderate drought conditions in central and south Georgia that expanded from only about 30% last week to about 69% this week. So that's a pretty substantial expansion, as well as a little area of some severe drought locally in south and southeastern Georgia. However, we should be able to get a dent into that as we get into the next several days because the wet weather has returned. Here is the culprit for all of the upcoming wetter weather. This upper low pressure system is out over the Oklahoma area right now, and that will very slowly work its way eastward as we head through tomorrow and into the weekend. It's not going to progress all that much, and we'll be pumping some Gulf moisture up over the area. So with that, we're going to see very high levels of moisture in the atmosphere, and each day a pretty good chance of showers and thunderstorms. So that will add up all the way into early next week before we might start getting some drying by midweek. So starting off with the weekend outlook, basically what I just said, rain chances each day through the weekend and high rain chances at that. The clouds and showers and thunderstorms will keep temperatures lower than what we've seen. In fact, lower than normal for this time of year, as opposed to the very well above normal temperatures we had been seeing. Rain chances tomorrow well into the 80 to 90% range. Taking a look at Saturday, much the same, highs only in the upper 70s to low 80s for most of us, even some mid 80s in central Georgia. I'm still looking at very high rain chances. And as we head into Sunday, much of the same, still cooler with high rain chances. So looking pretty damp over the weekend. It won't rain the entire time, but periods of showers and thunderstorms can be expected each day. As we go into next week, very similar forecast. Monday, Tuesday, still relatively high rain chances. It may begin to taper by the time we get into midweek Wednesday or so, as that persistent low finally will begin to make its move away from the area. But at least into early next week, expect the cooler temperatures as well as pretty decent rain chances. So what does this all add up to for us? Well, with the persistent rainfall chances each day, it will begin to add up. This is starting off with from now through Sunday morning. As you can see, even through Sunday morning, generally speaking, 2 inches, with higher amounts further north over 3 inches, more likely in those areas through Sunday morning. locally higher amounts possible. And then we're just going to add on top of that. So this next graphic, we're adding on top all the way through Tuesday morning, getting more areas, 3+, 4+ inches of rainfall by that point. And if we take it all the way out a week ahead through next Thursday, that's what we're talking about, those widespread 3 to 6 inch rainfall amounts, especially the higher amounts across the eastern portions of the area, with locally higher totals possible. As far as the flooding potential, as I mentioned at the beginning, recent dry conditions for the past several weeks will help to limit the potential for widespread flash flooding issues, and that's not currently anticipated. With that being said, we do have marginal to slight risks for excessive rainfall each day through the weekend, even approaching the moderate range for far northeast Georgia on Saturday. However, this will not translate into as high of potential for flash flooding issues as it might generally, just given those dry soils. It will take a while to get things good and saturated. Again, with that being said, some localized flooding issues will remain possible, especially since we're talking such high rainfall totals over a period of several days. To sum it all up, dry weather is over for the time being. We will have very good chances of rain through the next several days. That should help put a dent in that little drought that we have had building over the last several weeks. Again, widespread rainfall totals of 3 to 6 inches with locally higher amounts are anticipated, with some localized flooding issues, but not expecting widespread flooding issues at this time. And again, the severe thunderstorm risk is low each day, but cannot rule out some strong thunderstorms or perhaps an isolated severe thunderstorm through the next several days, but not looking at a huge severe weather event. So with that, that is your weekly weather briefing for this week.